Greetings and welcome to Creatively Geeky. This is episode number 1 and the newest show on the Epically Geeky network. If you're watching the video version of this, you probably recognize most of the crew on here, but we do have a newcomer as well. So just going around, like I said, why is everyone like looking bug-eyed? This is episode 1 of Creatively Geeky. I am your host, Eugene Stevens. This is our newest show for the network. It is something that has come out of, honestly, kind of came out of the book club. We read a book by Felicia Day, and she talked about having a support group for her creativity. And since most of us do something creative, we thought, you know what, this would probably be helpful because I know I'm talking to everyone else. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you get locked up. Sometimes you need someone to talk to help you make sure you're still going. You're still pushing forward. So that is the purpose of this show. And I hope anyone who's listening to this will get that motivation as well. This is to help you as well. You know, keep pushing through, keep being creative, keep making. So with that said, I'm just going to go ahead and do a quick introduction for myself, and then we'll just go right around. If you don't know, like I said, my name is Eugene Stevens. I started Epically Geeky. The previous site before it was One Man Asylum. I do podcast. I am a amateur prop maker. I'm one of the lead members of Ghostbusters ATX, the Austin area Ghostbusters. So a lot of the stuff that I got into this really big, to make props and stuff. And as such, I've started getting into 3D design and 3D printing. And that's really kind of where I find most of my creativity coming from is designing things to 3D print. So, and like I said, we'll kind of get into that a little bit later on. So I guess we'll just start all the way around. Jennifer, go ahead and do a quick introduction.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, and I am also on the Epically Geeky show, Marginally Geeky, the book club, and Sustainably Geeky, which is the one that I host about the environment. And I've been, creatively curious for most of my life, and I've always liked, musical things, artsy things in different formats, but recently kind of been expanding, and I guess we'll get into that more, but excited to kind of have, other folks to bounce things off of and hold me accountable.
Good deal. Ray?
Oh, yeah, sure. Right to me, huh? Yeah, so I've been, on and off all my life. I've always been into the arts. Really enjoyed doing art in general. So like drawing and painting. Painting has been more my style lately. It's something I've been really trying to expand on in all different sorts of mediums that way. I love being a part of musicals. I've been in musicals when I was in high school as well as public school. It's
why am I just now finding out about this?
We don't even know you.
I know, right?
I love doing that kind of stuff. I really want to push into getting to more music part of that. I haven't really touched on in a long time. So yeah, there's all sorts of aspects. Not to mention the excitement of potentially building a shop at some point and getting into that stuff. So.
Chris?
Hello.
Maybe that's how I should have started the show, is just hello.
I guess, I don't know, I never really thought of myself as a creative person until I was an adult, and then realized I come from a very creative, extended family, and my mom's really creative too. But we were actually in the musical together in public school. So we've been in a musical together. I did a lot of plays in high school, and I did drama all throughout, and actually thought I was going to be an actor when I left high school, but that didn't work out. I have the personality for it. And then, I dabbled in writing, about 10 years ago, which is how I met Eugene. through Cyrus and his sneaky little ad on an aspiring author's page that Eugene didn't know about.
A little presumptuous.
A little presumptuous, but you were very nice about it. And I enjoy baking. I love baking. It's like my stress reliever, which I have passed down to my daughter because yesterday she was having a not great day and was like, I make cupcakes. So she made cupcakes.
I appreciated it.
Yeah.
Everyone else,
Absolutely.
Everyone, they were really good.
benefits.
Yeah. And but now it's just, I don't know, just knitting and being creative. Yeah, just trying to find new hobbies, dabbling back into old ones, and just being held accountable for things I set my mind to, because I find really good reasons not to do things.
Sometimes I don't need a good reason. Sometimes it just happens. So.
Oh, look, I didn't do anything all day.
Oh yeah. And that's, hopefully this show's gonna help with that. Just as I see you wearing like the Emperor's hood and like standing behind her, telling her to use her hatred for the baking. So funnel it into the cake. Anyway, Sean.
Yeah. I'm Sean, fellow Canadian.
Hi, Sean.
Hi, Sean.
Ray. Growing up, I was really kind of into the math and sciences, so it wasn't until adulthood, much like Chris, that I started realizing I was more creative than I had realized all growing up. Taking all the math and science courses in high school, university, and stuff like that, I was good at it, but I always enjoyed writing. And I took all the English classes and all that, and I really loved it, but at that time it was like, go into computers, Y2K, all that crap. So I think I took a wrong career path. But now that I'm older, I find I enjoy sitting down and writing when I have the time. I used to do funny little vein poppers that I post online, and then short stories, and I've got a couple novels on the go right now. And it wasn't actually until my son started writing when he was like 10 that I was like, man, if he can do it, I should be doing this. So yeah, writing has always been fun, but music, I can't read a lick of music, but I'll sit down and just start playing the piano because I can play by ear. It's very relaxing. And right now my big thing is building. Because I'm renovating like crazy, and when you live in a century home, renovations are extremely creative. Because there's nothing square, you never know what you're gonna find. So that's what's sucking up all my time right now, is these stupid renovations. But out of that, I'm gonna get my own man cave. So, and it's gonna be epic when I'm done. Like, model train set, end scale. It's going to circle the whole thing.
Wow.
Have a computer lab in it. I'm going to have like a workshop for like Legos and the whole 9 yards. I can't wait. But yeah, that's my outlet right now, because I don't have time to write that much, because I got to get a whole bunch of this building done. But like, anytime I'm out there and looking at it, and I got to come up with creative solutions so the whole place doesn't fall down.
Since you have a man cave, do you guys have she sheds in Canada? Do you know what the she shed is?
We have heard of that. Yeah.
I love that commercial.
Stupid. She shed. Oh,
Yes.
I'm gonna get a shishi or she shed, Carl. That's great.
You were asking me if Christy wanted a she shed. I don't know if I responded to you or not. Like, the deal was like, I get this room and the rest of the house is her. She doesn't need a she shed. She has the she house. So you know. Yeah. And then our newest addition to the site is Lauren. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey guys, I'm Lauren. I've always kind of been creative. I like building things and making things. I've been into cosplay the last 4 years, and I make armor builds.
Oh, cool.
So, and I also do, I make a lot of stuff on my Cricut. So I design shirts and sell them things as well. I just really need help with like the accountability level of it. I get sidetracked very easily for other things.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, her
absolutely.
cosplay's amazing, by the way. Like,
She's got
some
several
cool stuff.
great ones, but her hot girl is just insane because the wings actually like go up and down, and it's freaking insane. So
That's a never-ending project. It's my love-hate.
yeah. I kind of get that when I talk to you. You're like excited about it, but then you're also just like, oh, it's more stuff. So
Yeah, it needs to be fixed right now. It's in the garage, and I'm like, oh, do I even want to touch it?
So that is our group. And we plan on doing this once a month. We'll get together and just kind of discuss. I would like for everyone to kind of set out maybe at least one thing that they're kind of wanting to focus on and maybe a goal. So once again, I'll just throw it out there. Does anyone have anything they're currently working on or something they want to start on and maybe a goal for, let's say by the next time we meet?
Everything.
Have our house ready for sale.
Okay, that's creative. I mean, well, depending on how you're trying to sell it, you're right. That could be pretty creative. So
That's where all of my creative juices are going right now because I have to put trim up, which I'm mostly done now, which as Sean can attest, if it's not everything is square and you're doing trim, dear God, I hate it.
yes.
Dude, caulking.
Oh, it does wonders.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm. That's where my energies are going right now. That being said, I need a real kick in the ass to get going on my guitar again, and I'd like to at least learn one new song before the time we meet up. So.
Okay, so you're shooting for a new song before next time.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to try and shoot for a Green Day song because I haven't really learned anything from them yet, and they've got a new album out, so that'd be kind of fun.
And you can play it for us on the next show.
I don't know. What
Copyright.
Yeah,
Play for 5 chords until I don't know.
I'll play A chord. Literally the A chord. Boom.
Wah, wah.
Oh Lord. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna start taking notes so that I know what
No,
everyone.
he's gonna grade us.
No, I am not grading. And that's the other thing. I want to make sure this is supposed to help motivate us. I don't want this to ever become a thing like Felicia Day had where she felt like she had to keep lying to her support group because she was playing World of Warcraft constantly. So yeah, I'll go ahead and jump in real quick. So I'm working on 3 different things. One thing I really can't kind of talk about yet because it's something that I'm hoping to sell, and I'm kind of fighting against not really fighting, but I'm competing against some other people to kind of get it out to market. So I don't really want to mention that too much. I've got 2 other things. I'm currently, like your wings, Lauren, my proton pack seems like it's always a process. And I'm in the process right now of revamping the smoker that goes in it. And I've got some new things designed. I've got them on there. It's just I've got to get myself to take the thing down, take it apart, and rewire the damn thing. And then I'll pretty much be set on it, and I can actually send out those plans and be happy with it. So I'm going to give an either or. I'm hoping that maybe by the next time we meet, I will have either at least made some movement forward on that process, if not finished it. The other project I have is we are recording this in February of 2020, and this little guy has been all the rage. It's a 3D printed Baby Yoda, and as you can see, it's been 3D printed, and I haven't put it together completely yet. I haven't glued him together yet because I want to be able to paint it easier, but
Close your eyes, Chris.
I know, right? He is adorable, but he's gray. He has been he's been primered, and I've actually
really cute though.
I've ordered some more filler primer for it because I've never really done anything organic. All of the stuff that I make is like it's Ghostbusters equipment. So either it's equipment. It's nothing organic looking like this. So if it's got some dents and dings on it, it's weathering. It looks like it's been through hell and is actually equipment that's been used, and that blends in fine. But I can't do that with this little guy, so I'm forcing myself to not only try to get a pretty decent sanding job on this little guy, but I have had a airbrush sealed in a box for over a year, and
Wow.
I have not taken it out, mainly because, once again, going back to the type of equipment I usually do, I can do that all with a rattle can. So it's like, why would I break it out? And I'm trying to force myself to do a experiment and paint this little guy with that. So if I don't make any movement on the proton pack, maybe I'll get some movement done and maybe get close to finishing this little guy. So yeah, those are the things I'm shooting for right now. And I walk in my office and they're both sitting right there, and I'm just like, I've got to get on these. Like, there's no real external pressure as for me having to do it. It's just all internal. I want to get them done so I can move on to other projects. So that's what I'm shooting for. Chris?
Okay. So with working on the house, we have 2 built-ins on either side of our fireplace that they don't have any doors on them, so they're wide open. So in order to hide our mess when we're showing and stuff, I'm gonna make 2 curtains out of an old bed sheet. I haven't sewn since the 10th grade, and I have a sewing machine in a box that I got from my mom, who got it from my great dead aunt's house. So, hoping it's got some good juju on it. But yeah, I haven't sewn. My sister sews all the time, and I know how to sew, and I know how to use a sewing machine and everything like that, but it's been so long that it's intimidating to try and figure out how I'm even going to do this. But it's simple. It's a big square, so how badly can I screw it up? But yeah, that needs to get done by next Monday. So just to hide the mess.
So have you said you haven't sewn anything since 10th grade, but you at least learned then, right?
Yeah, so I took a sewing class in high school. So we learned the proper.
We all had to in grade 8.
No, that was different. That was home ec.
It was home ec, and it was we had to hand
stitch these.
I made a football.
Yeah.
Did you make a football?
Yeah.
I made a huge bulldog. It was huge.
I made a little itty bitty hedgehog because that was the cheapest one.
God, I wish I had learned this in high school. See, I don't know. Like, I can sew on a button, but that's about it.
Well, in grade 8, at our elementary school, you spent half the year doing home ec and then half the year doing wood shop. So
they don't believe in teaching life skills in the U.S. in school. Just
it's okay. They're
random academic things that we don't use.
They're trying to do that here too. That's okay.
Yeah. So
we'll all be equally stupid. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's teach them trig, because they can use that when they're balancing their checkbook.
Quinn loves algebra. He's just.
Hey, we need more rocket scientists and stuff.
So so I took that class in high school. I got 80%, so I did pretty decently. But again, and my grandma's a huge quilter. She loves quilts. She even got the fancy quilting machine and a big drafting table and all the fancy cutting things and stuff. But I haven't done it since the 10th grade. And anytime the kids needed a Halloween costume, it was him sewing it, not me. So
Wow.
I'm going to try to do this and not hurt myself. With my thumb going right through the.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That would be bad.
Ouch.
I was going to say, how bad
yeah.
could you really hurt yourself with it? But Lainey, I've watched Lainey cut herself with a potato peeler with a safety on it. So if you're motivated, you can do anything.
See, all I could hear, I can hear it now. Like, I'd be in the other room, always say, son of a Craig!
Yeah. My thumb is stuck to the sewing machine.
Let me get the scissors again.
Yeah. Lauren, do you want to go next?
Yeah. So I'm actually working on Sylvanas. I've got all the armor cut out. I need to have it done by May before Epically Geeky Expo. I can't ever get the name right.
No one can.
EGX.
There you go.
Because we have a Comic Palooza the next weekend that we compete in, and I've been really slow on finishing it. I've got it there in a container next to me.
Nice. But you've at least started on it.
Yeah, I got the pieces cut out and glued together. It needs the trim. All the hard stuff's left.
So what does the armor consist of? Like, what are the pieces?
So this little hub here.
Oh.
And there's a lot of pieces,
Oh
and
my.
they all get trimming. Have y'all ever played World of Warcraft?
No.
It's been a long time.
Well, it's one of the characters from it. She's one of the bosses, and she
Okay.
requires a lot
Oh
of.
wow.
So what material is that?
So this is EVA foam.
Oh, okay.
I buy the big rolls from TNT Cosplay, which is easier than buying those mats that you can get from the store. It actually ends up being cheaper to order the rolls as well.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
because the material's better and you can use all of it. Versus
Oh, that's
you
nice.
know how you have the edges you can't use.
Yeah.
And then they sell like cool things like these angle pieces,
Mm-hmm.
which are expensive. So I can't order more, so I'll have to make my own.
That's cool.
So I'm working on that, and that's going to be finished. And then I'm trying to learn how to mold, which is not turning out so well either.
So what's happening with the molding? Because she came to me and had me 3D print some spikes that she needed, and so I 3D printed them, and she was going to make molds out of them. What's going on with that?
So they're turning out okay, but when I get to the tip here, for some reason, in the mold, I guess it's the way it's curved. I think I got to figure out how to let air into there to get the point.
Okay.
So, or I can just file it down and make my own.
That might work too.
Have you tried vacuum seal?
No, I've had to sand them to get them a little more smoother because I didn't realize how much of the ridges were going to show up when I did it. Like everything shows up. I was kind of surprised.
I was afraid that might be the case.
I didn't think it would, like, I don't know. I didn't think it'd be that detailed when I molded, but it is. It picks up, like, every little thing, like the little skull I made. See, you can see, like, the little flaws in it even, which I was surprised.
That's one of the reasons, because people have asked me some of the things I sold. They're like, "Have you ever thought about doing resin cast of it?" And I'm just like, I don't want to sand forever to get.
Yeah, you got to sand a lot more than I did.
Oh yeah, so. But okay, well, cool. So you're working on a big cosplay you're trying to get done.
Yes.
Nice. Sean.
Month time. I'm gonna do an epic piece of fiction. My taxes. So, yeah.
Your taxes.
That's gonna take up probably most of my free time. My taxes personally take me about 10 minutes. Deb's taxes with her small business.
Oh.
Yeah, and she is so organized. I've got her with spreadsheets and all that. God bless her, she has everything sorted into nice little piles and stuff like that. But it's going through it, and I still have to go through like all our utilities and stuff like that and break all that stuff down because I can write off parts of our house and stuff like that because she teaches here. But it's just, I like take an entire room, like sorting everything, and yeah, hooray, just to like break even on taxes. Like it's friggin' crazy.
I was gonna say so our teachers are somewhat on strike right now, and part of that strike means that they aren't giving out report cards. And normally, I really love seeing the report cards that Sean sends back, because he gets to say his little piece there.
Yes.
Yeah, they didn't come out this year. I was kind of disappointed. Yeah, they're all posted.
Yes.
I've got them all.
Yep.
Nice.
That's always the fun thing to do. Patrick doesn't care anymore. Catherine hates it. Dad, don't do it this year. Don't write anything on there. No. Hey, if I have to read it, they have to read mine.
What do you normally write? I'm not familiar with this tradition.
I'll send
Should
you.
I'll go find
I take a picture of all of them and I put them on Facebook. I actually have an album for them.
I'm looking. I'll send it to the group.
Yeah, send it
I'll have to find it. Yeah.
to the group. Because
Awesome.
some are better than others. Sometimes, I don't know, I just catch me on a bad day, but some of them are Yeah, they're like top notch.
Inspired. I will say I've read some of them, and some of them are pretty
Man,
good.
I missed them.
Yeah, they're all there. But yeah, fiction, taxes.
Gotcha.
That's the goal for this month.
I just did ours this last weekend, and I understand because Christy, my wife, did a little photography last year and got paid and got a form for it. So of course we had to file it, and it's like, oh, so you're self-employed? I'm like, no. So I had to go through that. Yeah, not fun. So I feel you, bro. Jen, what would you like to work on before next?
Well, let's see. I have a list of about 10 things I wrote down for this show.
Wow,
That's how
okay.
my mind works. All the time I have things going on and things I'm not doing enough of. But I guess one of the main things is I don't think we've actually technically announced this in any of the shows. So I've told you, Eugene, I don't know about the others, but I was approached by the local public radio station about doing a spot, and I'm going to be doing like a 5-minute weekly show about the environment.
That's
so
awesome.
I have committed to, like sending them the recordings for the month so that I don't have to do them weekly, because I'm not good at like weekly things like that. I know it'll be too time consuming. So I want to just be able to sit down, record it, and send them all. And so far I've written like 1.5 of the spots and sent them the one, and they said it was good. So now I just have to sit down and like write the rest for the first month and keep that going, because I'm a good writer, but I hate like having to get my thoughts in order like that, and it takes me forever. It's a 5-minute spot, but it'll take me hours just to write it and get it out. So it's kind of torturous. I guess that's a creative thing outlet though. So I'm excited about that. And it'll be kind of similar to Sustainably Geeky, but in like a much shorter format with just me and no interviews or anything. So there's that. I've got to finish that before the end of the month. And then the other, I guess, big thing I'll pick is that I have had this. You mentioned you had an what's it called? Airbrush for a year. I've had a guitar in the box for, I want to say 4 or 5 years. I bought it on Black Friday like many years ago. It's been sitting in one of my spare rooms, and never opened it, never started, to learn. So I actually like bought a subscription to Fender's online lessons because I had a half off deal, and that was like a month ago, and I haven't logged in or started learning. So I guess I need to commit to at least taking it out of the box and starting a lesson in the next month.
Sounds good to me.
I really do want to learn. Like, I like, disclaimer, I played instruments in middle school and high school, growing up. So music is a huge part of my life. I was like pretty good at picking up instruments because I had to learn a new instrument for marching band, and then like your embouchure is different, your fingerings are different, everything. So I feel like I have a good like foundation in it. It's just a matter of, this is a whole other type of instrument, and learning how to make that work. So once I do, though, man, watch out, world. I won't just be doing karaoke. I'll be like singing and playing. No,
nice.
So yeah.
Well, alrighty then. Well, we said when we started the show that we might have a topic from time to time. Unless there's anything else anyone wants to discuss, we were going to talk about copyright issues a little bit. Since one of us actually ran into a problem with a copyright issue. So do you want to talk about that a little bit, Ray? Or
Sure. So I've always been a fan of fan art. Some of our favorite artists that we buy stuff from at Fan Expo and online are fan art. And so I thought it'd be fun to make a couple of skateboards. I thought it'd be hilarious to put "Where's Waldo" on the bottom of a bottom of a skateboard. Conversation piece, that kind of thing.
Right.
Thought I did a decent job with it. And
I think you did, because you posted pictures of it. It looked good.
Actually did Fido Dido as well, and that one's sold. I did a Venom one as well, but I've pulled that one since I've learned my lesson on this one. I was contacted. So Etsy sent me a notice that a copyright infringement claim had been put against one of my posts because I was selling it on Etsy. And I was informed that DreamWorks owned the rights to Where's Waldo, and that I wasn't allowed to sell my skateboard because it had Where's Waldo on it. So I reached out to them and said, sorry, I just always loved the character. Thought it would be kind of cool to put him on the bottom of a skateboard. Never meant to threaten your
multi-million-dollar empire.
Multi-million-dollar empire. Yes.
One original piece of art. So I had a question in my head at the time that I'll save for this show, and I'll talk about that in a second. Anyway, so I pulled that one immediately, and then I pulled the Venom one as well, but I left my other two up because they are original art. As for what my question is, how is it? And this is I put this out to you guys. So how is it different from me putting this on a skateboard, right? I can put it out there, do that kind of thing. What's the difference between that and somebody getting a tattoo and paying somebody for the tattoo? So that happens every day, where somebody gets a tattoo of Fido Dido or I've got a buddy who's got an entire sleeve of Ghostbusters.
Yeah, he does.
And what's the difference? I'm just curious because there's clearly a difference.
Well, and all the other fan art that we see at Fan Expo, the artist alley's just crammed full of nothing but fan art.
And I love seeing the fan art because it's their take on that character, right? And I love that idea. There was one, he did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I loved the way that he did it. It was so original.
But I have heard that some places are cracking down on even that kind of sales. Is that correct? Like, have y'all heard this at different cons where
we haven't been on for a while, but I have heard more and more that they're trying to crack down on this stuff. And I don't know. It's kind of
a shame.
It's kind of a shame, right? Because artists are trying to show what they can do, and more and more these large companies pick these things up and copyright to the point of protecting. There's one thing, and this is where my difference is as well. There's a difference between taking something and claiming that you created it. Like if I took the Fido Dido thing and said, I created this character, right? That's different than me creating my version of that character.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I mean, I get that. I get the concept of the copyright in the sense that the artists that created it deserve, the recognition for it, and their time and effort, are worth money and all that. On the flip side, though, you would think that other people emulating that art would help to kind of promote whatever they're doing, like someone sees Where's Waldo on your skateboard and they're like, oh, that's cool, I like Where's Waldo, I haven't read him in a while, let me go get a book, or whatever the case is. I'm gonna go watch this TV show or this movie now. It's kind of a double-edged sword, I guess. I don't know how you still
it is, because I see the other side of it too, where there's an artist in Kincardine, which is a town close to us. She's a fantastic artist. She does photography, and she has to post every once in a while. Just because I share my photos on Instagram doesn't give you the right to download that and then blow it up and put it in. Like she said, if you want to support me, buy my prints and do those things. I totally agree with her. Or
buy the digital rights to the photo.
And I understand that aspect of it. But again, I go back to the question of what's the difference between painting that on a skateboard and doing a tattoo on somebody's skin. And
I don't know.
It's
it might be, the difference might be between promoting and competing. They may actually have skateboards or something like that has Waldo that we aren't aware of. So then you would be competing. Whereas tattoos, typically businesses don't like offer tattoos or images. There's no chance of competing. It's just promoting. And I'm just spitballing.
Oh,
here,
yeah.
but,
Yep.
Well, and see, that's how I've always kind of taken it. So well, going back to what you were saying, like I'm sitting here looking at right now, I've got prints that I bought off of Etsy. They're original art, but they are Ghostbusters. It has the Ghostbusters logo. You obviously know it's Ghostbusters. I have an Autobot and a Decepticon symbol as well as a Stormtrooper mask. And I bought all of these things off of Etsy. They were also, original artist interpretation. Going back to what you were saying, though, Sean, about competing. So some of the things that I sell on Etsy are I sell miniature versions of a flux capacitor. I sell miniature versions of a Autobot Matrix of Leadership. I've never worried about it because, if someone ever does contact me, of course I will take it down. But the companies that own the rights for these things have never produced these things, or they stopped producing them a long time ago. So in the case of the Autobot Matrix, Hasbro has never officially made one. They licensed a company that made one, and they stopped making them over a decade ago. And of course, they're going for stupid amounts of money. So I'm producing something that's not even there. If they want to compete, if Hasbro announced, a Toy Fair just happened, if they announced, hey, we're going to come out with an Autobot Matrix Leadership and it's going to be life size or whatever, I'd pretty much just be like, all right, well, cool. So much for that. Cause number one, I don't want to compete because I don't want to get in any trouble with that. But it's just like, so I understand that. So yeah, maybe there is a skateboard with Where's Waldo on it. I don't know.
Okay, but your 3D printed Baby Yoda, assuming you had, been the one that designed it, you said that they're cracking down on not just those, but like anything Baby Yoda,
right?
Somebody crochets something. Disney's not gonna sell a crocheted Baby Yoda keychain or something like that. So like, when you think about it that way, it's just them kind of being all powerful. Nobody has the right.
I know copyright law, you do have to protect. If you have a copyright on something, you have to protect it, because if you don't protect it, you lose the copyright on it. So I understand if it comes through their attention, they have to do something with it. As for the Baby Yoda, the thing that's interesting about that is, so like the one that's sitting in front of me, I bought those files from a guy. He was selling the files. I don't know if he's still selling the files. Probably not, because, but up until this point, Disney made a choice not to have any Baby Yoda merchandise. And they didn't. I will say, to their credit, they did not shut anyone down on Etsy or anything for having Baby Yoda stuff up until about a month ago, whenever they finally announced it's coming. It's just going to be a month or so. And then that's when the cease and desist letters started happening. So, it may really come down to a competition type thing. So.
Well, and that's why I thought it was so curious, because I haven't heard of a new Where's Waldo book. I haven't seen anything of Where's Waldo in I don't know how long. And so for DreamWorks they must be coming out with a movie. That's my only
guess. Or something, maybe, yeah.
Something soon. And you would think that like Disney, you don't really hit anybody until it comes time that, okay, we're ready to go. So maybe they're trying to ramp up. I don't know. I learned my lesson. I will never try and sell that kind of art, obviously. I will still make some of that art because it's fun. But it's one of those hard things of, again, like the small artists, I get. The small artists, I want to protect them. But I have little doubt that my one skateboard for $40 or whatever dollars is a threat to a multi-million-dollar company. So
what's funny is I was just looking for Where's Waldo skateboard. Apparently they did make one back in like the 90s that they thus stopped making. And then one of the next things that comes up is Where's Waldo skateboard? And I'm pretty sure it's the one that you made. Of course, when you click on it, it says, oh no, this has been taken down.
So here's another question, though, to add more complication to this. how does that work when you're selling in another country on a site that may or may not be based in your country? I mean, do you have to follow that country's copyright laws or vice versa or both? Like,
Technically, you are, and they have just a couple of years ago. I know they reached an agreement that was supposed to basically extend, because the U.S. has the worst copyright. Like it's by far the
like the worst is in the strictest, or the
as in the
like
strictest,
stupid?
yes.
Okay.
It protects to a degree that is basically made the fair use nullified, which is dumb. Fair use is you're supposed to be allowed to use it for reviews, as well as for even creating your own content with it, to the point of like parodying, and that's why Spaceballs got away with what they did, right? Because it's a parody and you're allowed to do that kind of thing. So
yeah, it's the copyright law. So the original copyright law was it was something like, it was only supposed to be like 20 years or so, and then it got extended to the life of the artist, which I have to say I agree with. But now it's life of the artist plus like an additional 70 years, and it's just like, and Disney is the one behind that. And what's really sad is because the time period was coming up for Mickey Mouse, and had they done some research, they would have been like, oh, well, Mickey Mouse could have not been copyrighted. We could have trademarked it and still been covered, but they didn't go down that route. So, it's.
And what's hilarious about that is Mickey Mouse wasn't even his creation. It wasn't Walt Disney's creation. It was one of his artists. Yeah. And then the artist taught him how to do it. And then so this other artist creates this thing, and Walt Disney buys the rights for it. And then, right, like that's what is so funny about all this, is that
this sounds familiar, like that book we tried to read and couldn't finish in book class. The Marvel one.
Oh
yeah. With all the bullshit with the artist and Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and all the people. Like.
Oh yeah, that one was tough. So.
Yeah. All the wars.
I actually had forgotten about that. You mentioned that. I was like, which book was that? And I was like, oh yeah, that one.
I think you might have been the only one that finished it.
I am the only one that finished it, and it was dry.
So it was tough.
Does anyone else run into any copyright issue with anything you make? Like I said, because of the stuff. Now I also feel like maybe one of the other reasons you got dinged is because yours is a two-dimensional graphic of Where's Waldo, something that a computer could easily look at and see. I think that may have been why it got pulled.
I guess they painted it a little too well.
I guess so. Whereas like the matrix that I make, and then the flux capacitor that I make, you can look at it and tell, oh, that's what it is. But there's also like, it's also not screen accurate. So it's like, I don't think I'm sure that a computer could probably pick it out and get a general idea. But like I said, I haven't run into it yet, so thank goodness. And if I do, then hey, that's of course my first comment will be, when I write back, will be like, so when are you producing yours?
Yeah.
So that I can buy one, because the only reason I made this is because you weren't making it. So, but
I call bullshit on that. You'll buckle. You'll cry. Please don't sue me.
Oh no, I know exactly how this is going to go. Like I said, I'll just take it down and immediately be like, all right, so when are you producing the next one? So, because the first thing I'd probably be like, depending on who it is, it'd probably be like, so why are you coming after me now? It's been quite a while. Are you working on a new one? Is that something you don't want me to go around telling? Hey, they're making a new one. But yeah.
So then. Just a question then, because I'm not into cosplay at all, but I know there are some cosplayers that get paid to go to events as certain characters. So just curious if there's any of that going on, copyright infractions there.
So I have heard a little bit about it in cosplay, but the thing is, clothes can't be trademarked or can't be copyrighted. So because we're wearing clothing, it's a little bit different. But the things that'll get you in trouble are like actually using like symbols. Like if they really wanted to be hard, they could get you for using the Batman symbol on your stuff, or using like Hawk Girl or any of that. If they just
Wow. Yeah.
if they want to be asses, they could, because that stuff's trademarked. So technically, we shouldn't use it on our items. But our clothes can be exactly the same because they can't trademark clothing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I think they've, unfortunately, fortunately, I guess also that a lot of them have come to realize that, hey, this is actually free advertising, and we're going to look like super dicks if we, because I mean, you know, if you go to a con, you're going to see tons of Harley Quinns and
lots of
Deadpools and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And yes, they could come, you know, just slam the hammer down on that, but that also basically tells the people who love your item enough to dress up as it, hey, guess what? We're dicks. Don't do this. And I think if anyone stepped up and started doing that, they would very quickly find out this is not a road you want to go down.
I have heard of people getting hit for weapons, though, for selling them. Not so much weapons that you use during your cosplay, but if you put them on Etsy and sell them, I have heard of people getting hit for those because they do make a lot of replica weapons and sell them.
Right.
So some of the companies will come after you for props that you make and sell.
Okay.
And see, once again, it's one of those things, like, of course, I'm picking something that's so general, but I'm hearing it in the background here. Lightsabers, you know, there are the official Force FX ones or whatever, but, you know, they've also contracted out to other companies and stuff. But people sell Star Wars, you know, lightsabers are like a dime a dozen. So, but of course, Lucas has always been he was always very lax about it. I mean, I don't know how much longer that's going to be since he doesn't own the company anymore, but, well, Baby Yoda, for example. But yeah, I've heard that as well, where people have said, because you know, some of the prop community is like, you know, I'm wanting to make this and do this and sell it, and everyone's just like, you know, just be aware if they say no, like that's it. There's no coming back to it. So so a lot of people have talked about. I've seen a lot of prop makers talking about the fact that they're like, well, you know, I'll do commissions. If you commission me to make this item, then I will make it and charge you for it, but I'm not going to resell it because it's a one-time commission, and you know, no one's really going to worry about that. But you're right. If you're putting them on Etsy, you know, Etsy's the go-to place to find this type of thing. So it's, you know, it on one hand, it's, hey, this is the best way to get my stuff out there, but on the other hand, it's also like, okay, well, guess what? Now you're swimming with the big boys. So.
Because I run into it too when I make shirts, because I use the Cricut and I make shirts and stuff. So I have to be careful on designs and stuff you use, because they'll hit you for that as well. So if someone comes to me privately and asks me to make something, I'll make it. But I never put anything that's trademarked out there, especially Disney. Disney will come after you for anything.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was actually we were talking about like the shop that I have in my head. Like it's a garage that has everything in there. Anyway, one of the stations that I kind of have in my head is t-shirt making as well, and I thought that'd be kind of cool. And I wanted to make one of the t-shirts that we talked about on the show, which is Saw, like Saw but with candy, and have. And I thought that'd be really fun, but the problem is you can't do that at all and sell that T-shirt because it has Saw, and then it also has Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and like it's. Yeah.
Well, some of it you can get away with if you kind of make it shadows and design it yourself. Like if you're not using art that's out there, if you kind of combine it and make it your own.
Which I guess I did do, but.
You could probably skate around, because I was thinking like that. So I would say like you wouldn't even make the word Saw anything like the logo. It would just be like Saw, just, you know, SAW.
Yeah.
And but with candy. And then if you had a general, like just, you know, an outline, generalized outline of a guy who happens to be wearing a top hat and holding a cane. I mean, not necessarily Willy Wonka, could just be some dude, but you know, I you could probably skirt around it, but I see where you're coming from. It's like, you know, it's a cool idea, and it's like, but do I want to possibly put the biggest thing for me is it's not even so much that I'd be worried about legal ramifications, because most of the time it's like the first step is always the cease and desist. And if you go with the cease and desist, most of the time it's done, whatever. Yeah. My thing is, do I want to spend the time and energy in designing this thing and then
not going to be able to sell? Yeah.
Yeah. So especially if that's what you're kind of going for. What's funny is you said a shirt that we came up with, and the first one I thought of was the one with the moose with the beaver holding the flag. So anyway, I still need to make that shirt.
Yeah.
So you asked about other issues with copyright, Eugene. I've never run into an issue where I've been approached for breaching a copyright, but or trademark or anything. But I will say the internet was kind of a steep learning curve for me and a lot of people, I think, when images and music became so accessible. And I started managing social media pages and, just creating event promotions and not thinking about, I can't just grab an image on Google and throw it up there if I'm using it for like a business page or a flyer or something.
Yeah.
Because I was doing that for, a really long time because I was young and dumb and didn't know anything. And then like my friend that was in marketing told me, hey, you shouldn't do that. You need to either get the pay for the rights or find royalty free or whatever. And then that, started my whole journey on all that. But even things like music, because at the chamber we would sometimes have like Pandora, premium or whatever playing at an event. And then we found out that no, you can't use your personal Pandora account to play at this public event. You have to pay for the license for a business account to do that and stuff like that. Like you kind of learn as you go, but things for people to kind of look out for when you're just trying to do something innocent, maybe a fundraiser or, a fun event for your church or something, but you could get in some trouble with, and movie screening, same thing. Like if you advertise it as, that you're showing a movie, you have to have the rights to play it. We know this from EGX because we have to buy the rights to those, had to buy them, for years and years. But unless it's public domain, and certain books and movies are after a certain amount of time, but it's a really long time. So
yes. I was just thinking of something. And I completely and totally forgot what I was going to say. Oh, never mind. But yeah, like it just the whole copyright thing has always been one of those things in my mind, because I'm like, I guess I could make something original, like as a prop or whatever, that would be kind of cool or whatever. But I'm like, it's these things that I've always wanted as a kid, and for the most part, it's things that they aren't out there. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, the Matrix of Leadership is something I've wanted since the movie came out in 1986, and Hasbro has never done it. So it's like, you know what? Y'all have had more than enough time.
So I think that's what my takeaway from this is that I will continue to make some of this stuff that I really want for myself. But
and gifts, you can give it away, right?
If it is a gift, sure, no problem. But I've learned my lesson in the way of fan art is not allowed to be sold. So
yeah, which sucks because, like you said, you put yours on Etsy and got your hand slapped, and yet you can go to any of 1,000 different cons and walk down Artist Alley, and it's just tons and tons and tons of stuff. So.
I can't believe I just said I've never had a personal issue with copyright when Geek Fest was the victim of such a stupid.
Well, technically it's a trademark, but
whatever, same thing.
So what she's referring to is So Jennifer co-founded an entire convention, which still blows my mind. And year before last is when this happened.
2018, I think.
Yeah, year before last, we got notification from some douchebag in Florida that he had trademarked Geek Fest Film Festival, and I even did some research on it, and I was like, it's a film festival. As long as we don't do film, technically we should be fine. Technically, we also have proof. Like, there's proof going way back that we've had the name for a while. We could have fought it.
Yeah.
The college didn't want to fight it. The college was just like, nope, just change the name. And of course, I wasn't even at the meeting, and Jennifer was texting me and just jokingly was, talking about this. I just jokingly said, well, why don't I trademark Epically Geeky and y'all can use it? And here we go. We have EGX now.
Careful
So
what you wish for. Yeah, that frustrated me for a lot of reasons. One, obviously, like you said, it was a completely different concept, different state. We had prior use, and most people that I talked to said, yeah, you could have won that battle because you're using it in completely different context. Well, but the other thing is we had done film festival segment the year that they found us, but it was an outside company coming in and they did it, but it wasn't like a big part of the convention. We didn't like the way it turned out, and we ended up saying we're not doing this ever again, and that was the reason we got caught, which really pissed me off because this thing that didn't even bring anything to the event or help, it ended up just biting us and screwing us over. So yeah, I mean, the guy let us use the name for that year that we were in, and then we had to advertise that we were changing it. But changing the name of anything that's been around for several years is always very risky, and it, causes confusion, and people don't understand. So, yeah. And, it was my baby, and that really hurt that they just kind of said, no, we're not going to deal with it for 8 years. So, anyways.
Raises a bunch of money for the college. Whatever.
Scholarships, who cares?
Yeah. Well, does anyone else have anything they want to add to the conversation about copyright or trademark? Either way, either thing. I mean, they're kind of kissing cousins. If you really look at them, I have to stop and still remind myself this is what copyright is. This is what trademark is, because they are two different animals. In case you're not aware. One of the good things about the newest copyright law is that the instant that you do something, it is copyrighted. It is, as long as you can prove that you did it when you made it, it's copyrighted. At least in the U.S. it is. It's just being able to prove that you did it. Trademark, on the other hand, is a totally different animal. So you have to file and pay money, which I know all about now. I really didn't want to learn about all that, but I know about all that now, and it's not cheap. But yeah, so yeah, if you are making things and creatively, just keep in mind that if it's something that someone else has done, if it is copyrighted by someone else, they do technically have that authority. It's just but if you're making it for yourself, it is what it is. Like and I've reminded people of this. I've talked to people about this several times. They want to bring up like you said, music. Illegally downloading music, illegally downloading movies. No one in the United States has ever been taken to court for downloading illegal stuff. The only time they ever take them to court is the ones who are either redistributing it or selling it. That's when they get you. Not that I'm advocating doing either of those things, because I'm a firm believer in paying artists for what it is they do. But yeah, that was one of the things, because I've had people come to me and they were like, am I gonna get in trouble? And I'm like, you're nobody. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. I said, now, if you're running a FTP server in your closet and you're actively selling Avengers, then yeah, you might want to shut that down. So,
FBI is gonna be knocking on your door
pretty quick too. So, well, anyway, so that was kind of our topic that we wanted to talk about. So, since one of us kind of got dinged with it here.
Hey, Ray, you could always do a skateboard of the Epically Geeky logo if you want something. I'm sure Eugene would give you permission to use that.
It is trademark.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about it.
Licensing. Since you can't use the other stuff, you can always do that.
Actually, EGX is a trademark. Technically not just Epically Geeky, but it's close enough that when I talked to the lawyer, they're like, no, it would all fall under the same thing. So, hell, I'm trying to get one of the Canadians to get a 3D printer so that they can set up a shop up there. So we can sell stuff. We can sell 3D printed stuff, and I not have to pay the exorbitant taxes and shit to ship it over the border.
Let's see how this sale of the house goes. We'll go from there.
All right.
I'm gonna have at least one in my man cave. So
good deal.
I need to do train parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those. Yeah, we're gonna have a talk about model trains. I
had no idea you were a train guy, man.
Oh man, my old house, I had like the tables all built for like a decade, but I hadn't put anything on it because like I wanted to get into DCC trains, which
Mhm.
is really expensive. That's all the digital control.
Yeah.
So it took me forever, but I finally got the controllers and the trains and all that. Then we sold the house. So I never got a chance to like put anything together. So it's all in boxes still. But
I hate that.
one day.
Well, if you
As long as
ever
I
come
don't-
visit Texas, we have a model train club in, the town over, and they have a huge setup, the old train station. So
When's the what in Texas? When's the coolest month?
winter,
Yeah,
like February, January, February.
January, February.
Sometimes March, like, because I mean, we've had some cold spring breaks too. So
I mean, we had our first freeze in October though, and then it got cold, and then it got really warm for a couple months. So you never know, but I'd say probably January's pretty warm this year though, so maybe February.
February, March, somewhere around there. So
I don't want to keel over.
it's fine. You just stay
We
inside.
made it. You're fine.
Yeah, we survived the summer there. You're okay.
We've had a couple of freezes like recently, but it's been in like the low single digits, I guess, for you guys, or maybe
It was
teens.
only 39 when we were there, okay?
39, yeah.
Celsius?
Celsius, yeah.
Oh god. I work in that. No.
Yeah, it's like 39 here now, like a low of 39 Fahrenheit.
Yeah, Fahrenheit. So, well, like I said, if that's it, we'll go ahead and wrap up this first episode. Like I said, we are planning on doing this show monthly. Probably going to come out the third, maybe the fourth week, Monday of the month, probably the third Monday of the month. We're going to try to get to a pretty regular schedule for our shows and try to have one come out every single week. Procrastinators being the one that's hardest to nail down. So
I think you were going to move this to the last or the fourth Monday, right? Because
maybe that was the fourth one.
Because right now it's competing with, but same day as Sustainably Geeky, but
with her show.
It's my show, yeah. Since you don't have a Procrastinators out yet.
That's very true. Yes. Anyway, so
can I just? I was just gonna say one last thing about this whole copyright thing. I wanted to share it with you guys because I know we're all, and especially it's important for getting started with creativity stuff like that. I want to spread the word as much as possible. Fan art is great, and you can put it on Instagram. You can have fun with it and all that stuff. Just don't try and sell it because you will get hit. And it's a mistake that I made, and now I know the law. Now I know the rules. So please, just take the lesson that I've already learned. And
how did you not go with knowing is half the battle with that? Oh my god.
Because it was copyrighted, that's why. Because I'm sure they're listening to this show. Yes. As always, you can find us at epicallygeeky.com. You can find all of the shows on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, pretty much anywhere you find podcasts. Like I said, I'll have the feed up here as soon as I can to go along with the different shows. You can find us at Epically Geeky on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And then if you want to follow our individual creative outlets, possibly, if we're putting that stuff out there, let's go around and find out where we can find everyone. So, do what?
Was that shade?
No, that was absolutely.
If we're posting,
no, I'm the one that posts like pictures of my cats all the time and go, oh yeah, you know what? I'm working on this. Maybe I should post pictures of that. So, Jennifer, where can we find you online?
Here on Creatively Geeky, as I mentioned earlier, Sustainably, Epically, and Marginally Geeky, and on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Het's Gonna Be Me.
Chris, where can we find you online?
You can find me here at Creatively Geeky and all the same places as Jen.
They hang out in the same places.
Yeah.
She wants to be just like me.
Yeah.
They're both trying to save the planet.
Yes.
We're trying.
Help us.
Almost. And on Instagram at The Burrow Life. And that's it.
I have appreciated the daily pictures you've been putting up.
Oh.
So especially Wicket just basically hangs out there all the time.
Oh.
So I took him out to go pee, and then we came in, I brushed him off from the snow, and then he proceeded to sit by our door and whine and look at me like I was stupid because he needed to go back to bed. He wasn't done being in bed yet.
Mhm.
And so that's what he did. He nuzzled himself in between our pillows. And the only reason he got off the bed 4 hours later was because I was opening a package of cheese and he heard it and decided
Of course.
to jump down and come out and see what was going on. 4 hours later. Yeah.
Nice.
Otherwise, he would stay there all day.
Some days I same thing, man. Ray, where can we find you online?
You can find me the Reluctant Yeti on Instagram, on Twitter, and then on Facebook you can find my artist page on Raymond. It's Raymond Andrew. And sometimes I post there. And then soon, well, obviously,
Here.
Epically Geeky and
Marginally Geeky.
and
Creatively Geeky. And Procrastinators.
And Procrastinators once in a while, because, you know, we try and put a show on once in a while, but we are really pros at procrastinating.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we are digging that name.
It is fantastic. The other thing I was going to say too is hopefully you can find some of my art at a store coming soon, and I will discuss that when it comes out.
Yay!
And there's of course a link to his infamous Etsy store on at Empathy Geeky. So
only original art will be for sale.
Oh, well, there you go. Sean, where can we find you?
Usually Amazon. If I don't make a purchase at least once a day, they come calling.
Oh, they get worried about you?
Yeah, they send the FedEx guy every day.
Uh-huh.
It's crazy. I'm on Marginally Geeky, Mac Daddy, Epically Geeky. Procrastinators, I haven't been on that one yet. I'm supposed to be, but I can't remember.
You know what?
Game
We've got
it's
a
supposed
good.
to be.
I've played the next game that we're doing. It's a good game. So
What is it again?
And
Gunstar Heroes
Oh, I think
on the Sega Genesis.
On the Sega Genesis. Classic.
It was a good game, so you can be on that one.
And I'm usually around Facebook and stuff like that.
Brown.
Yeah, I'm around.
Good deal. Lauren, where can we find you?
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Lauren Ray Cosplay.
Yes, definitely go check out her stuff. Like I said, the Hot Girl for itself is just flipping awesome. But she does post works in progress whips. So I always feel weird when I tag that, because when you click on the tag on Instagram, sometimes you find like cars and stuff, and I'm like, this isn't a work in progress. So, but yeah, definitely go follow her Instagram. It's awesome. So
Just did.
Just
Super
did.
creeper.
Yep.
good deal.
Thank you.
Nice. And as always, you can follow my individual wacky adventure online at Optimus Gene on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For everyone on the site, have a good night.